All right, there we go. Let's see here. Hi. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? If you don't know who I am, my name is RJ. Today, we're going to be going over some high level moon magic. So we'll do some energy exercises. We'll talk about psychic protection, ways that you can protect yourself, different types of psychology when it comes to your energy. Right now is probably one of the best times in the entire year to build sensitivity to this and to develop a very high level of awareness. I'm sure a lot of you, as you're joining, can agree with this, that over the past week or so, going through like a really deep level of transition and change within our experience. So that's what we're kind of working with. And part of it is because, we're at this, midway point with Samhain and the full moon too, and it's a super moon. So we get this type of mix between our mental and astral matrix, which is like this type of magnetic fluid that binds your spirit to your soul and your body, right? It thins out. So you're more susceptible to tapping into your higher levels of consciousness. And then with the full moon, we get an amplification of energy at the same time. So with this combination, you're able to, go a lot deeper into tapping into your higher levels of consciousness, your light bodies, your rainbow bodies, your diamond bodies, and all those different layers of light that you've been cultivating for a very long time. Those levels of life force begin to interact with you on a much deeper level. So, and as you guys are joining, let me know how you feel about this. Have you had any really deep insights, any deep aha moments, or like really, moments of just change within your experience? Right here, right now is the best time to experience it. And it's a really, really beautiful thing, and once again, what up, Jake? How you doing? What up, Tired Truth? um, you know, taking advantage of cosmic synchronicities. The full moon is a perfect cosmic synchronicity, and a lot of the Buddhist countries and like the Asian countries in general, they celebrate the full moon. They call it a Poya Day in Sri Lanka because they recognize that anything that you do around the full moon, that energy gets amplified. This is why there's common sense. You can look around you. During the full moon, there's a lot more 911 calls. There's, females are lying to the moon too because the power of the moon has the same amount of power that can raise the tides of the ocean. So it also raises the tides and stuff within our astral emotional body as well, and all the fluids within our physical body, as well as all the electric and magnetic fluid of everything else in this world. So taking advantage of it is it's really, really powerful. So we'll do some energy exercises. If you guys are with this, tap the screen. We'll go through different levels of energetic psychic protection, as well as gaining sensitivity to your mental body, so you can cut off the stories and streams and stuff that begin to invade your mental awareness. In most traditions, they'll call this mindfulness, but mindfulness in its true sense is not exactly what a lot of people how a lot of people kind of relate to it. So on this level, we'll go super duper deep with this, and let me know how y'all feel. If everybody's joining, don't come in here and not say what's up. Don't step in my house and not take your shoes off and say hi. So if this is your first time with me, drop a one in the comments. Let me know where you're from. My name is RJ. I teach psychic development. I teach Qigong, Hermetic alchemy, and magic. And I've been teaching for years. It's a very, very beautiful process. And tonight we're going to go through building energy. It's a full moon. It's the perfect time to tap into your energy. It's the perfect time to go really deep into, once again, psychic protection, understanding your mental body, your astral body, your physical body. We'll talk about how karma affects you. You know, it's very, very important to recognize these things, and we're going to go deep into it. What up, Starlight? How you doing? Mo Vibes has been here a lot. My mom put me on. Your mom is pretty wise. Shout out to moms. What up, the bestest 13? How are you doing? Um, Like I said, tap the screen up. When I looked at it, it was at 444. Look at the synchronicity. But yeah, tap the screen. When we get up to, we'll go 25,000 likes. So, if you know somebody that could benefit from this, that will, like, they're in the energy work, and, you want them to get their protection and understanding too, feel free, share this live stream. 'Cause we're going to get deep. If y'all have any questions or comments, feel free and share. Once again, I've been teaching, hermetics and alchemy and psychic development for years now. Had about 1,000 plus students thus far. I teach an online course as well. We have a huge community, so feel free. You can check out the links. We have a Discord community. There's several people that are going to join or already in here that are part of the course as well. But we go super deep into how to develop equanimity, how to understand the elements, right? How to understand your relationship to, air, fire, water, and earth, and how they manifest through your instinctual nature as part of who and what we are. And the more you begin to understand that, the more you can get to know yourself. And there's one of my favorite quotes from Pythagoras is, know thyself, and you will come to know the universe and the gods. And it's a literal thing. It's a reflection of you. The entire world, your reality, your karmic stream is a reflection of you. And the more you understand yourself, the more you understand how to protect yourself and to, master your energy. Well, the more you can master your destiny as well, because you are the bridge in which everything seeks to express itself. The essence of you is literally a vibrational match to the creator, right? So, because of that, you are the bridge into this physical realm. For anything to get expression in this physical realm, it can only come through you. Even if you think of the concept of the creator, infinite intelligence, the universal mind, God, infinity, the Akasha, whatever you would like to call it, Brahma, however you would like to relate to it, same thing, right? Now, when God manifests things, which never stops manifesting in the same way that you never stop manifesting, how do you think he does it? He does it through you, through the thoughts and feelings and through the actions of men. That's how things manifest, and everything manifests like this, even in nature, mentally, astrally, physically. So if you don't have control over your mental body, your thoughts, right? If you don't have mindfulness, if you're not able to cultivate stillness within your mind, well, you're going to be manifesting things that aren't yours. They will be projections from the people around you. There will be projections from the collective consciousness, from television, from social media. Your most people are usually emanating their insecurities and stuff. And that's what, most people start picking up on. You can go outside in most places in the US right now and just walk down the street, and half the people not gonna say nothing to you. They're gonna walk down, put their head down, and it's not because, that person is just innately, introverted or anything like that. Right now, the collective is in this, like, shameful, put the blocks on and insecure type of energy. And most people project that, and that's how they live their life. And this manifests through us in many ways that are not healthy for us. So the more that you can get some separation between the observer and what you're observing, right? You get this type of karmic buffer. So you begin to see your thoughts, your feelings, your actions and stuff that are not yours. You begin to recognize, what's from the environment, what's from your family, your friends, what's from, oh, I saw this on TikTok, and now it's manifesting in my physical reality, because that's how it works, you know? And this is something that begins to happen naturally. So as we go deeper and we start to do these energy exercises, you're going to gain a very high level of protection from that. And when you begin to recognize the separation of the observer from what you're observing, hold on to it. Write it down, acknowledge it, develop that skill, because this is how you liberate your spirit. This is how you liberate your spirit. You can kind of think of thought forms as stories. They're electromagnetic stories, right? And if your mind is not stable, once a highly charged emotional energy touches your mind, right? You just build that story and that you just follow it. If you don't have mindfulness, if you've never practiced meditation, if you don't really understand how the mind functions, this is how it works. Even on the highest metaphysical, magical levels, even in hypnotism and everything else, it's the same. This is how our subconscious mind works. And once again, if you don't have any protection or understanding of it, then you'll be manifesting things that's not yours. And, my path to service is to make sure you see that. And it liberates you and in really, really deep ways. Um, if y'all got any questions about this, like, please let me know. For everybody that's joining, once again, feel free to say hi. If you're like stalking on the other side, you ain't clicked in yet or whatever, come in, take your shoes off, and say, hey, my name is RJ. Let me know where y'all from. I am currently in SoCal in Los Angeles County, originally from South Bend, Indiana. Like I said, I've been teaching psychic development and hermetic alchemy and hermetic magic and stuff for several years now. Been grateful enough to be traveling the world doing it and have students all over the world from all different walks of life. And it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And once again, my path to service is to help liberate as many people as possible, whoever is open to it. I'm not trying to project, you need to believe this or believe that, practice and see for yourself. I suggest that you verify everything I say. Don't take anything don't take anything from anybody, from any book, any radio news station, any influencer as gold. Question everything. If you build up the habit of, oh, everything they say is true, then, everybody with the physical body is not perfect. If you have a physical body, you're not perfect. And not only, even if you're a saint, you're not perfect. So, if you build that habit of taking everything on as a truth from one source, then on your subconscious level, you start to believe those things. And then those things begin to manifest into your reality just simply because you take it on as a truth. So, question everything. And for me, verify everything I say. And and I really, really want you to. I really hope you do, because it will liberate you in many different ways. So, the hermeticists throughout time has also been the scientists. The magicians of the past were literally the scientists. And it wasn't until the Catholic Church started going through their crusades that they separated the two. So metaphysics and physics, science, chemistry, all of it is all one thing. There's no separation between normal reality and magical spiritual reality. It's all one thing. It's all correlated. And the more you can recognize this, the more you can master it. And the easier it is for you to see how it functions. I suggest for everybody before I'm gonna go through these comments too. And if y'all got any more comments or questions, drop them in there and I'll be sure to get to them. You know, um, it's crazy because even on the spiritual level, it says, no, it's not quantum physics. No, it literally is. Quantum physics is a study of the astral. It's that's the bridge between physics and metaphysics. It's all one. It's all correlated. And all the things that they're just now discovering in quantum physics are things that all the mystics and sages have been studying and documenting for thousands of years. I haven't heard one thing in quantum physics in which they begin to prove over the last, 6, 7 years that is not something that's not already well known amongst the sages at all. Oh, now quantum physics is once again for the people who don't have the spiritual insight and through direct experience, the academics, right? There's people out there that, it has to be verified from some source that's reputable in order for them to believe it. Or you can experience firsthand, and this is why, I always talk about the difference between the philosopher and the sage. The philosopher can read every book in the library and know things, in an intellectual level, but they couldn't fathom what those things mean on the level of the sage through direct experience. So you can look at Buddhism. There's the difference between a practicer and somebody that studies Buddhism. It's two different things. Are the arhats and then literal people who attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, and there's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. What up, Defo Denise? um, Most of arhats that attain nirvana, um, they're not really smart people. They're not really smart people. They practice. Some of them are really smart, but for the most part, they're not like, oh, I must study A, B, and C and study all the sutras back to back to back to back. No, they're actually practicing. They're actually putting in the work instead of, oh, let me go put my head in the book and read other people's opinion on what this is. No, everything's verifiable. Do A, B, and C, do this practice, free your mind, liberate your mind. Boom, you have access to infinite intelligence. You can enter into nirvana. You can understand what's being said because you're one with infinite intelligence. Or you can read a bunch of books and try to figure it out and get more confused from reading books from people who just read books, and giving their opinion. Because there's a difference. There's a difference, and it's pretty interesting to see. But the funny thing is, before I start going into these comments, is that we need the academics. We need the people who are just completely just headstrong onto the purely intellectual aspect because they're the ones that document everything, even though they may only have an intellectual level and may not have it on a spiritual firsthand experience level. We need them. We need them. They don't need to practice. They need to write the books. Y'all do that, and then all the highly intuitive people that are actually practicing, boom, you put it together so you can mix the intuitive intellect together. You can't get a full understanding just one way. If you follow your intuition your whole life, you'll have a very high outcome, but you won't be able to explain anything to anybody. Well, I experienced this. How'd you get there? I don't know. Follow my intuition, right? But if you have an intellectual understanding, then you have a way to bridge the intuitive knowing with the intellectual knowledge to share with other people and to help other people, raise up. Problem being is that the highest knowledge is a product of the spirit. It's not a product of the intellect. It's something that cannot be intellectualized. Once again, it's like, what does an orange taste like? You cannot write that down. You cannot give that to somebody. You can hand somebody an orange, but you can't make them taste it. You can describe how the orange tastes with as many adjectives as you want, but you cannot give that to somebody. And, try it. Somebody said, oh, just stop. Try it. Prove me wrong. Product of the spirit. Look at any spiritual knowledge whatsoever. You can only perceive that knowledge from your own level of understanding. It's not until you raise up the vibrational scale and you literally ascend and your mind becomes focused and strong and flexible enough to not be rigid and say, this is only the one way, that your mind begins to go through the different layers of consciousness. And that same information that you know to be true now will change. You can look at your experience now, it's things that you know right now, proverbs, sayings, scriptures, everything that right now it means something completely different to you than what it meant last year, 6 months ago. The higher spiritual knowledge cannot be verbalized. It's outside of form. You do know you dream consciousness. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you aren't even the consciousness. You are the awareness of the consciousness. And even when you dream, your mental and astral matrix demagnetizes and boom. So that's not true. What's not true? Oh, Mr. Fact Straight. Oh, go ahead and put y'all debates and stuff in the comments if you want to. I usually don't go that level, but I'm gonna read some of these other comments. um, the bestest says, how do you protect your energy? I'm having a hard time around people. I can feel their emotions. So it can't be verbalized. I'm gonna answer the protection one first. I'm gonna get to this. We gonna go deep in this. What up, nasty Nate? So what time is it for you right now? It is 10:40 p.m. I am on the West Coast in Southern California. Um, so when it comes to psychic protection, right? There's different ways that you can protect yourself. One, the people closest to you, you don't have a lot of protection from. Even energetically, you put up your protection bubble and your Akasha and your deities and your white light and everything else. The people that you love, you don't have as much protection from, because that simple fact that you love them, you're open to them. Your heart space is open to their thoughts and feelings and projections and stuff to affect you mentally, astrally, even physically, and in a very, very deep way. Right. So one of the ways that you can protect against the people that's closest to you is you got to, bring that relationship in equanimity, just through contemplation. You can sit in quietude, um, still your mind a little bit, and just contemplate that relationship. And you don't have to generate any feelings. Your astral body will bring the feelings up. The literal energy, the literal astral connection that you have between you and that person, your astral body will bring it up. You'll feel those feelings. Now you can contemplate it, observe it, and observe it to the point until it becomes completely still and demagnetized. And from there, your relationship to it begins to change. You're not so emotionally connected to that thing, that place, that person, whatever it is. You can do this with anything that you have a connection with. And it's not that you're taking away the emotional connection. It's that when you engage that person, you're able to see them for who they are. You don't take on their stuff. You can see it for what it is. Most of what we perceive is our belief about stuff. It's not what we are actually interacting with, it's our belief of what that thing is. Our mind is very efficient, it's very powerful, but it's very lazy. Our mind takes shortcuts. What we perceive in every way possible, until you develop enough equanimity and stillness and mental spiritual strength, right? You will go on seeing whatever you believe in every way you could possibly conceive. The mind just picks up out of the billions of bits of data that you're being bombarded with every single moment. Only a small percentage of that actually reaches your awareness. So the rest of what you are experiencing is just your belief about what things are. And that's what the astral works upon, is your belief structures, and when it comes to protection, you need to go a little bit deeper than what most people think. Because most people say, "Oh, I don't believe," right? Even actually, I don't believe that this thing can hurt me. But that doesn't mean you're going to be protected just because you believe you're protected. So it doesn't quite work on that level. But if you understand how to demagnetize and to not filter what you're perceiving through your belief structures, and you can see it for what it is, and then you can act accordingly. You have a lot more ability to change and protect yourself in that way. Once again, if we get up to 25,000 likes, we'll do an energy exercise. And this energy exercise is literally how you tap into your vital life force, how you begin to even alchemize and transform your vital energy, your Jin, into astral chi, and then we'll use that astral chi to develop a spirit protection, and then you can reprogram it so it can literally protect you in many different ways. I'll break down the practice and theory of it, and it's a really powerful practice. We're right here near the full moon, so everybody will be able to feel it, unless you're like on some substances and stuff which stop you from being able to feel your energy to a high degree. Other than that, everybody that does it will be able to feel it. And it's super powerful. It's one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself. Another way to protect yourself is deity yoga. Associating yourself with a protective deity, that pays dividends. If you don't have a really deep level of control within the Akasha, then that's the quickest and easiest way for you to protect yourself. For me, I usually only suggest the Buddhist deities, because there's no checks and balances. You don't owe anybody anything. Every bodhisattva within the system of Buddhism take the bodhisattva vow, in which that they are here to liberate as many beings as possible, until they reach nirvana. So there's no checks and balances. You don't owe anybody anything. But simply by associating yourself with one of the protective deities like Ekajati or Blue Tara or Fudo Mule or Vajrapani, Mahakala, Just by associating yourself with them, negative beings and energies will just leave you alone. Negative people will leave you alone because all their demons and succubi and incubi or whatever, they're going to stay the hell away from you. Because they don't want to get dissolved into the Akasha, you know. You know, it's super powerful. What about Hindu deities? You got to be careful with some of the Hindu deities because a lot of the Hindu deities are strongly influenced culturally, even within Buddhism too, but they don't have the same merit structure within Hinduism as they do in Buddhism. In Hinduism, it's all types of crazy stuff within Indian culture and stuff too. So you gotta be careful when it comes to that. I mean, just like any other thing too. If you look at you know, even looking at Christianity, Catholicism, and the archangels and stuff like that, like it's karma that comes with them. And matter of fact, so like I said, I teach qigong and tai chi and stuff, and hermetics. So doing mental training and you're training your spirit. One of the ways that we train is you'll go to places of power. You'll go to really, really powerful places, temples, churches, synagogues, and you know, places like that. And you mentally transfer into the space, into the akasha of that space, and you place your mind there and you vibrationally match the energy within that space. Now, what happens is you start to take on the frequency of all the people who's ever prayed in that space and left their devotion and all the powerful astral energies that's there. Through this practice, you start to realize that, oh, when I tune my mind into something, all the karma and the thought forms that's attached to that energy, that's within my field of consciousness. What you think and believe and what comes up into your sensory system, none of it is you. It's because you are in resonance with some belief structure in your astral body, and all the karma that's tied to that, they're going to tell you this or that. For instance, first time I did this, I'm from South Bend, Indiana. So University of Notre Dame, they have Sacred Heart Basilica, one of my favorite places in the world. It's Catholic Basilica, absolutely beautiful, super powerful. Anyway, first time I did this, I left from there and I went to go be intimate with my girlfriend the same night. And because I tapped into all the Catholic energies, all the Catholic beings were telling me I was going to go to hell because I was having unwed relations with my girlfriend. I mean, literally, I could see the hellish images covered in blood and everything else. They were literally telling me mentally that this is what's going to happen. Not because it's what I truly believe, but I'm just in that energy. And this is part of how our mental body functions, just from being in specific places. So that's scary. If you live in the city, you should be even more scary because all the collective consciousness, the wants, the needs, the drama, the projections, the aspirations of all the people within that karmic bubble, if you don't know how to protect yourself, it becomes yours. If you live in a house with people, think about all the habits you picked up. Right? If you're unaware, you have no separation between your own stuff and then the people that's with you, you'll start taking on their stuff. People got fetishes and addictions and all types of stuff. And everybody is subject to this. Everybody's subject to this, especially if you don't understand energy. If you don't understand how to, you know, separate the observer from what you're observing, the moment your mind touches something and you don't have any level of mindfulness, then that story is going to stick to you astrally and it's going to seek to express itself through you, you know? So, and it gets deep. And this is what robs you of your free will. This is what robs you of your destiny. This is how a lot of people waste a lot of time. If you are on substances, if you are a gardener, you have no protection. As long as your body chemistry is changed, you have no way to protect yourself. Because the reason why you can't feel your feelings when you do those things, right, is because it neutralizes your astral body. Your mental and astral matrix gets thinned out. Same thing that happens when you go to sleep and neutralized. But that part of you also protects you. And it doesn't get back to full strength until your body chemistry begins to equalize all the different spiritual levels of skill and practice and awareness is a chemical thing. Your body chemistry matters. So if you're constantly hijacking your body chemistry, then you know all your protection is gone. So this is why they say that it's a gateway substance because you keep gardening with the wrong people. And even on a subconscious level, that person pulls out a pipe, you can be right there with them after a while, because a part of you or your mirror neurons are going to turn on. And the next time they do it, it's going to sound like a good idea to you because you have no protection. You know, it all really starts in the mind. Yeah. I mean, law of manifestation. Everything manifests from the mental and then to the astral, right? A feeling, a label is assigned to it. And then when you get that feeling, that label comes up into your awareness, you act upon it. That's how everything in all of creation has been manifested, from a thought form to the astral to the physical. It's the law of manifestation. But you can create your own manifestation, but you have to develop equanimity. You have to develop mental awareness. And it's very, very, powerful. And this is what I teach step by step. I teach meditation. I teach psychic development, alchemy. Teaching for years, been teaching all over the place. Like I got students all over the world. It is really, really, powerful. And if you're interested, right now it's like 60% off. And the way I've been teaching it for a while, is I have an app. And we have video libraries, and there's hundreds of videos, tons of meditations, energy exercises, and really powerful ways to develop yourself and ascend. You're essentially training your intuition. You're training how to communicate with your spirit and how to activate your light bodies, how to go up and down the vibrational scale of your light bodies, how to train your intuition so it's always working for you, so you become your own teacher. Because that's all you need. That's the highest knowledge you can possibly learn, is how to, develop your intuition. Remember, intuition literally means to learn from within and above. The etymology of it in itself literally means in, from within. Tuition means to learn from above, to learn from above and within. It is your divine connection. And it's really beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. Stop overthinking and learning, into being clear within. It says, if you expel your life force daily, will you reincarnate on Earth? Expelling your life force daily has nothing to do with reincarnating, but the more life force you have, the easier it is for you to transcend reincarnation. Now, what allows you to transcend reincarnation is how stable your mind is within the Akasha. Because your mind has to be more still than the samsaric forces, which are all the astral stuff, all the belief structures and all the labels of things and all the things that keep you in the dualistic, delusional hell realms. That's what causes reincarnation. And when the Buddhists talk about emptiness or release, they're talking about literally releasing the astral things that's attached to your mind. And it gets deep. It gets really deep. And so though I love this topic. And this is something that not a lot of people know about. It's so much misinformation out there. Like, it's so much misinformation out there. And I can tell you right now, if your favorite guru, influencer, teacher, book writer, TV personality, if they are somebody that gardens all the time or always on psychedelics and substances and stuff, or cacao ceremonies and Aya ceremonies and stuff like that, then they're not there. It's not possible for you to get there. It's literally not possible. And they'll come into resonance with really high truths, and then their mind is not stable enough to sustain it, and they'll be subject to really, really low delusions. And everybody that does it is subject to that. It's not possible for your mind to be completely stable within that state as you're hijacking your body chemistry. The science of ascension is something that I've been teaching and sharing and studying for a very, very long time. I've been teaching it for lifetimes. It's so funny too, because one of the things I teach is how to activate your abilities. Because part of the reason why we're here, on a spiritual level, is for you to know thyself, right? Know yourself. The more you know yourself, the more you begin to understand who you are throughout time and space. Everybody has an inner genius. Everybody's a genius at something. There's nobody that's not. And the more you get to recognize that, the more you begin to understand your thoughts, your tendencies, and become more in resonance with your spirit. And for me, it's been really, really interesting. I was sharing a story last night. The very first time I meditated, This is after a couple of interesting attempts of we're not gonna go super deep on that side because they banned me for a couple days after I talked about it. But the very first time I meditated, I touched Monad, entered into the Akasha, and left my body and healed myself mentally, astrally, physically. Was standing over the cosmos, talking to God, came back to my body, remember who I was. I could see spirits everywhere. I could feel my energy. I went to my cousin's house the very next day. He was with me when it happened, and his mom, her eye was messed up. It was infected and brown and droopy. She couldn't see out of it. I didn't know anything about energy healing or Reiki, or I didn't even know what the word Reiki or anything, and just in spirit knew, oh, you can heal people with, energy. So I'm like, hey, Margaret, let me try this real quick. And Margaret was down, rest in peace. But Margaret, super cool, was down. Like, oh, okay, Ralph, and she took her glasses off, and yeah, I just tried. And lo and behold, a minute later, oh my God, I can see. My eye doesn't hurt anymore. I can move it around. Thank you so much, Ralph. And, for me, I'm just like, that's cool. Mind you, this is after the very first time I meditated, you know, and it's super cool. It's really, really cool to, remember who we are. Everybody, we're all powerful. We're literally different aspects of the one, but it's a lawfulness to understand. And thank you for the gifts, everybody. Once again, tap the screen and share this. If you know somebody that could benefit from this, because we're going to do some energy exercises. We're going to go through the steps of creating your protective sphere. We'll go through the practice and theory of it as well, so you know what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you should protect yourself. But if you know somebody that may be interested in this, and even it could be your mama, sister, cousin, baby daddy, whoever it is, children, feel free, and share it. If you have any questions as I'm going through this, feel free and ask them. I apologize if I don't get to your comments. If I don't get to it, um, by all means, just type it again. So yes, I know my intuition bad. I feel lost most of the time. Says bro, pull a Jesus move. Listen, we're not gonna get into that because listen, once again, I usually don't share all my experiences, but once again, I've been teaching for years. I've had 1,000 plus students. I've had hundreds of students meet me in person and teach them. And you can ask them. I don't even need to speak for myself. And I can literally, for anybody who's taken the course, seen me, came to a retreat, met me in person, ask them. Ask them. I don't have to. Said the pigeon story. I didn't even go into that. I didn't even go into that. What else, Lynn? But like none of that is even important. What's important is that you know that you have the same power. You have the same power, and the goal is for you to tap into your divinity, to know yourself, to master yourself, to love yourself, to liberate yourself, and to activate your abilities so you can build a life around your abilities and live a life of fulfillment. Create your own heaven on earth. That's what all the gurus and masters and prophets throughout time and space have been sharing, is that one thing, and everything that's out there. There's all types of different philosophies and stories and doctrine and everything else. But once again, the most important thing is for you to develop your intuition. And it's really, really beautiful to tap into my ability to turn water into wine. Hey, you make a killing off of that. um, Bonzi says, may I ask for advice on fearing going to hell for leaving Christianity? How can I be sure I'm safe? Um, so these, okay, so understanding the different realms. So this is something I'm really big on. A big part of my path of service is kind of documenting and getting people to see and to recognize the vibrational scale, the spiritual hierarchy, right? I don't know if you were in here when I kind of explained how the different realms function. Whatever level of reality you're in, your belief structures tie you to an astral realm. The astral is a belief based thing. Your astral body is composed of your labeling system, your attachments, your aversions, your beliefs. This is essentially the realms in which you dwell in astrally, your emotional body, your astral body. That's where you're at as you're living your physical life. Not everybody experiences the same reality. So your belief structures and your attachments put you in a specific realm. The frequency and the quality of your mind puts you in a specific realm. And all the thought forms and things that are tied to your belief structures, this is what gives you your reality. All your feelings, your subconscious mind, that's what the spiritual realms are. It's your subconscious mind. It's the same thing. Just different people relate to it in different ways. You can just say it's your subconscious, or you can say, okay, well, this is the lower astral realms, right? There's the middle astral realms, the higher astral realms. It's the light realms going into the non-dual light realms, into the akasha, right? And it's a vibrational scale within that. Every religion is an astral organization. There is no true religion. There is no true philosophy. There's just different ways to relate to something that's infinite. There's just different ways to relate to something that's infinite. And like I said, I've studied many religions and spiritual paths, many practices and everything else. And there's just different ways to relate to something that's infinite. All the higher magical traditions that teach you how to tap into the Akasha and become one with it. All the universal ones that the entire system is not a religion whatsoever, but a system to liberate your mind so you can touch infinity and touch the Akasha, touch non-dual, the monad, touch that light into experience. They're just systems in order to get you to a certain level. None of them are real or true. How do you put a word on something that's infinite? Whatever word, whatever doctrine, concept in which you place on it will diminish it vastly. For everybody that believes that they know it all, you know, even if you read a million books on the subject of whatever it is, what's a million books in infinity? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing. The Buddhists call it, it is not just nirvana. Nirvana is essentially when your mind is released and you are one with the infinite mind. You're completely released of all attachments and aversions and delusions, which it's literal astral chi that binds to the light of your mind to give you your perceptions. You can think of it as a filter. It's your filter into the world and how you relate. It's the realms in which you dwell in. It's not until you develop a pathway of releasing those things that your mind becomes free of it and you can touch the essence of your spirit, which is a vibrational match to God, the universal mind. That's what the Buddhists call nirvana. It's touching that. Paranirvana is going one step beyond that, right? So all of your belief structures, they're true to you, but what everybody else believes for them to be true, they believe it's true too. So, are you on TikTok live? I mean, I'm talking to you. And I hope that helped everybody. Once again, hi. If you have not hit the follow button, hit the follow button. If you are here and this is your first time, drop a one. Let me know where you're from. Welcome. If you are on the other side and you haven't tapped in and you're just stalking me, by all means, come into my house, take your shoes off, and then once again, say hi. They'll just be creeping in the window. Um, my name is RJ. I've been teaching psychic development, ascension, hermetics and alchemy for several years now. I've had tons of students, from all over the world. I host retreats and workshops. I teach courses on how to develop yourself to a very, very high degree. So I happen to know a lot about this, and it's verifiable. And like I said, I don't have to share. It's plenty of people in here that will vouch for me. You're not your thoughts, you are the observer. Yeah, of course. But the thoughts, until you can control the thoughts and demagnetize the thoughts and create the thoughts, then, you are a slave to thoughts in your environment. And we're going to break that down too. I'm going to look at some of these other comments. So, it says, hello, how can I balance feeling? What's the point of doing anything if I'm going to die anyway? So, balancing it is finding what really fulfills you. But to do that, you have to know yourself. You have to, it's a guideline to like getting the zest out of life and to, kind of spark up your spirit, doing the things that literally bring you fulfillment, is important. Somebody talked about how can I not feel like I'm going to hell because I left Christianity. If you feel like you're going to hell, you're in hell. On the grand scheme of things, and most people don't get this, is even the realms of the gods and the demigods is a hell realm. It's up to you to create heaven on earth. And it's a mind state. It's literally a mind state. When your physical body dies away and your astral body dies away with it, all you have is the light of your mind. And that's what we're here to develop. And whatever frequency the light of your mind is on, that's the realm you're going to go into because you're already there. And I like this is verifiable. A big part of what I teach is, well, how do you leave your body? How do you identify the mental body, astral body, physical body? How do you separate them? Like demagnetize them from each other? How do you begin to see how they function? You know, and like I said, the light of your mind, that's what lives on forever. But the frequency, the beauty of having a physical body is that it's the only thing that gives you enough groundedness that you can develop yourself to a very high degree. Only with a physical body can you go from the lowest low to the highest high in one lifetime. If you do not have a physical body, you don't have enough groundedness within the Akasha to do that. It is a blessing to have a physical body. This is why the now moment is called the present, because it's a gift. It's a literal gift from the gods, and you can either squander it or you can take advantage of it. And in order to take advantage of it, my guideline to it is the one: know yourself. Pretty obviously, know yourself, love yourself. More than anyone or anything in the entire world. Love yourself first and foremost, so you can, share that with the people who you truly do love, because you can't give something that you don't have. It's not possible for you to give somebody something that you do not have. So know yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, right? And more than anybody or anything, too, trust yourself. Your intuition is your superpower. That is your divine guidance. That is your connection to the infinite you, to infinity, to God. And people will gaslight you, even the people closest to you. Trust yourself always, first and foremost. If it don't seem right, follow that. And the more you begin to follow this, this leads you to a really deep level of fulfillment, because you'll start living, based off of your own fulfillment out of love for yourself, and being able to share that with the people around you. And there's a system, within the system that I teach, it's a full system of magic and development and ascension. We start out at, level one, mastering the elements. How do you develop equanimity? How do you master air, fire, water, and earth? How do air, fire, water, earth, and Akasha manifest through your, instinctual nature and tendencies and urges? Because that's how they're there. And I'll break that down. If y'all want me to go through alchemy of a happy life, I'll bust that down for you too. We can talk about it. From there, you want to bring these into equanimity so you can develop equanimity. You want to develop the inner environment so, higher awareness is possible. And this is the most important thing, because in Buddhism, they have a concept of what's called the Bodhi mind, where you can take all the spiritual knowledge in the world, but if your mind isn't flexible enough and released enough, then you haven't developed a strong enough spirit to receive information correctly. And this is what I'm talking about. There's levels to it. When you begin to ascend, the same things that you see and believe to be true now, a lot of it's not true. A lot of it's just a bridge for you to cross into higher levels of truth and understanding, so you can continue up the vibrational scale. We come into resonance with things that are lies and falsehoods all the time, most of which, humanity calls facts, are just agreed upon lies. You know, there are there are nonfiction books filled with nothing but falsehoods, when there are made up stories that contain nothing but universal truths. So, your ability to, not even discern, but to be able to let go of everything that you believe, in order for you to go to the next level is important, because we come into resonance with all types of dumb stuff, you know. Uh, oh yeah, there's absolutely agree with you. So this awakening is not an event; it's a noticing, a remembrance. You do not ascend. Uh, okay, there's a level. There's levels to it. There are most definitely levels to it. There's highs, there's lows. There's you can exit the system. There's so many different things you can do. There are most definitely levels to it. And ascension is most definitely a thing. You can remember who you are, but if you're a literal demon or archdemon and you want to stay on that level, then go ahead. And many people are tied to those. The frequency of your spirit, the quality of your spirit, and all the light that's touched you, that's touching it. It's up to you. The essence of who and what you are is God. So you can go anywhere. You can remember any part of you because there's a part of you in every realm. But the more stillness that you begin to cultivate in your mental body, the more you can catch the higher frequencies. If your mind isn't still, you'll be vibrating all at the bottom in all the chaotic, dualistic, delusional realms and stuff. Any realm of duality is a realm of delusion. All of them, 100% of them is they're all realms of delusion, fabrications, you know. And you kind of think about it like this. So when you look at the Big Bang and how photons are vibrating in and out of the akasha. So, right, when somebody talk about quantum physics, oh, science isn't going to, same thing. Metaphysics and physics. The quantum physics is the bridge between the two. Quantum physics is the study of the astral. So, as photons and particles are vibrating in and out of the akasha, billions of times a second, that's exactly what your mind is doing. The more you develop stillness in your mind, the more you can slow the consciousness down into lower brainwave states. You can match that level of vibration. And, the more you develop that, the more you literally begin to go up the vibrational scale. This is a sign of your spiritual rank in creation. If your mind is not still, then you're being ruled by all types of other stuff, all types of astral stuff, all types of succubi, incubi, demon collective consciousness delusions, and then everything else. If you are in any level of duality, and stuck there, then you're in the realm of delusion. If you still, completely bound to, politics or, is even doing spiritual debates with people, and it's angels and demons, cops and robbers, black and white, and all this other craziness that's out there, then you are in a world of delusion and it manifests in many different ways in your life, not just one you know but it's a science to it. It's a big part of what I teach, but primarily I teach it to help liberate people, and it's important that my whole thing lately has been white belt mentality. Always a white belt mentality, because when you walk into a dojo with that white belt, you don't know it all. You don't know it all, and that's power, because you don't know it all, so you come with the willingness to experience and to take on all that you can, because you have the most potential out of everybody there. And if you remain in that state, then you'll continue to be able to learn and grow. But the moment you think you know it all, somebody gonna punch you in your face. Like literally, and the black belts are just white belts that never stop learning. But people get into their levels and think that, oh, I know it all, and go into whatever. So stillness helps you find your highest, most truest self, as well as the one true creator. Yeah. Says, what are you feeling on doing? What are you feeling on doing entity cleansing? Um, yeah, it's different ways to do that. And one of the things that we're going to do, like I said, we get up to 25,000 likes with this energy exercise, and we'll go into our building your protective sphere, and we'll go super deep into it. um, so somebody asked about what's the difference between the astral and the akasha. So You want to break down the different layers. So we can start with the physical realm, the roughly physical realm. Once again, our mind is very powerful and very efficient, but also very lazy. Everything is particles vibrating in and out of emptiness, literally to the point where if you develop your clairvoyance and enough stillness, you can see the particles vibrating in and out of emptiness. That's the roughly physical realm. Right above the physical, we have Jinn, or vital life force, vital energy. You use vitality in order to move your physical body. It animates all life and all the creation. All things is animated with vital life force. When you slow that vital life force and energy down, then you're going into the field of astral chi. This is what the Taoists will call chi. It's the astral fluids. It's this electromagnetic fluid. When you see people practicing Tai Chi and they're doing these slow, fluidic movements, the ones that really know what they're doing, there's a lot of fake Tai Chi out there too, but they're moving through the sea of Chi. Like literally, it's an energetic thing. You can literally feel the electromagnetic fluids, and that's a big part of what I teach in the courses too. Is how to tap into that. And we'll go through some of that. Um, Now, from the astral, then we're going into mental space and light. And light is universal light is the layer of consciousness coming into form out of the akasha. It's universal light. It's above you to the point where you cannot will it to do anything, but you can invoke it and work with it. That's universal light, and the akasha is what everything is vibrating in and out of. In certain traditions, the akasha literally translates to void, emptiness, space. That's what it is. Spirit, same thing. You can kind of think about even us breathing, right? You're breathing. What do you think you're breathing? Because some people think really rigidly and they take everything as literal, what they learn from, external sources, right? What do you think you're breathing? Do you think it's just oxygen? Does that's it? It's just oxygen and that's all that's coming into your system, into your awareness? No, it's consciousness itself. It's spirit. It's void, emptiness, akasha, energy, information. 100% of it is, and it's powerful, and then everything in all the creation is vibrating in and out of it. It is a lot of people associate it with God. It is what everything is vibrating in and out of, the infinite intelligence, the infinite mind, and it's beautiful. And the more you build a relationship with it, the more you begin to change your relationship to time and space, because the akasha is outside of time and space. It says only God is wise. All right. There's different levels of wisdom, and in Buddhism they say prajna paramita, which is wisdom beyond wisdom, which is when you're able to tune into the akasha, which in Taoism is called the state of wuji. When you enter into wuji and you tap into that wisdom beyond wisdom, you are one with the universal mind. That's a big part of what I teach, is how to do that, and through that you become your own teacher. You're connected to infinite intelligence, and that's the wisest thing you could possibly do. It's the highest knowledge you could possibly gain. This is when you look at different alchemical traditions like Freemasonry and the Rosicrucians and Knights Templar and stuff like that. All the Christian, Western mystic systems and stuff. When they talk about the Philosopher's Stone, that's what they're pointing at. It is the same thing that the Buddhists call prajnaparamita, or that the Taoists call wuji, is being able to develop the awareness of that and entering into stillness or equanimity or magical equilibrium, as the Hermetics say, and boom, you have access to it. And you have to, the same path that the Buddhists say, you have to release your attachments, your aversions, your delusions completely, in order for you to be able to touch it. There's other ways too to tap into it, but I'm not gonna go super deep into it right now. But once again, shout out to everybody that's in here. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit the follow button. And I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is RJ. They call me Sifu RJ Wright. I am a master of hermetics and alchemy and qigong. I've been teaching, ascension, psychic development, astral projection, mental wandering for quite some time now. There are plenty of students in here that have been with me for a while. You can ask them their experience. It's life changing. It's very, very beautiful. My path of service is to um, help high level beings start from where they left off at. And that's why a lot of you guys are here. I'm sure, I promise you right now, there's several of you guys that just started going into the Emerald tablets and looking up Hermetics or Qigong and Tai Chi, like just recently. Some of y'all might have looked it up today. you know, and this is Mystic Talk. This isn't like regular. This ain't witch talk. This ain't spiritual talk. This is mystic talk. This is for high level mystics and high level beings that have been monks in the past life, shamans and priestesses and literal deities. Like this is that level of conversation that we're having. And so yeah, it says you teach spiritual qigong specifically. Yes. I mean, we can go through the whole vibrational scale, but primarily, yes, how to tap into your life force, how to transform that life force into astral chi, how to recognize your astral body, reprogram and purify your astral body, how to raise energy up and alchemize it through your crown up into light, how to draw light down into the three bodies, how to reprogram your DNA, how to exit the body, how to do cosmic qigong, connect to the different planetary spheres, how to do it all. And like I said, for anybody who's interested, and like feel free if y'all got any more questions, you can ask. But I've been teaching this for years, and I have a course, and right now it's like 65% off. We have a app, and we have tons of different video libraries. I have hundreds of different videos. I do weekly group Zoom meetings at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturdays, and it's beautiful. It's all about how do you develop your power. And it's a universal system. None of it is like be like RJ and follow his path. No, these are the principles, the practices, the meditations, the energy exercises, the psychology you need to know, the lawfulness of all of it, and this is how you practice correctly. And then you take the practices and the principles and you apply it to whatever your thing is. If you want to be the top 1% of healers in the world, of qigong teachers, of psychologists, of bricklayers, of musicians, of whatever your thing is, whatever your inner genius is, whatever your path of service is, this is what I teach step by step. And it's beautiful. It's life changing, Says Tree Qigong is my favorite. Yeah, for from my experiences and all the different systems I've been into and practiced and studied, there's no other system that builds such a deep relationship with nature and the entire vibrational scale outside of Hermetics, especially when it comes to nature. When we talk about Tree Qigong, so going back to, and I talk a lot about Buddhism because Hermetics and Buddhism are, closely related. Um, and the final teachings in Buddhism are the final teachings in Hermetics. But once again, Buddhism is not a religion. Now, people make it religious. There are Buddhist cults and everything else, but it's a system of practices and rituals and psychology to liberate your spirit. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Um, but and then you look at the stories of the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama Shakyamuni Buddha, when he became the Buddha or the awakened one. As far as we know, he's the first person on this earth to attain that. But when it happened, he didn't do it. He was meditating up under a fig tree, the Bodhi tree, and when he was sitting there, the tree saw the potential that he had to change, so many different beings' lives throughout time and space that the tree gave him the blessing. He did not do it. The tree gave him the blessing. And understanding your relationship to nature and your environment. Like literally, like everything is living conscious energy, everything. The trees in your yard, they're living conscious things. They're way wiser and probably older, more powerful than you are. Right? Um, But understanding your relationship to your environment, all the way from the lowest low to the highest high, because they affect the way you think, the way you act, and the way you feel. The access that you have to knowledge and wisdom, and growth and ascension. There's a vibrational scale. There's levels of consciousness that's above you. If you don't have your act right, if your mind isn't strong, you will never make it up to higher levels, because you're stuck doing all the you outside. That's all the youngins say. I don't even know if they really say that or not, but like you outside, and it's really beautiful once you start building these relationships. So I was going to say, my tree stand talks to me and has given me so much knowledge, and it helps me a lot. Yeah, and those are powerful relationships, very powerful relationships. One, trees have much more life force and vital energy than you will ever have. So, they're trees. They purify the air. When you connect and build a relationship with a tree or with the whole consciousness of a forest, just by sharing your life force with it, it begins to purify you mentally, purify you astrally. They can even purify you physically, and then I mean that you can be healed, of all things, depending on your karma and, how much, where you're at on the vibrational scale, because there's a rank. There's a ranking. The astral is a hierarchical thing, you know. So, the more you develop yourself and the more that, you're higher up on the rank, the more power you have, the more miracles you experience, the more miracles you can actually do, depending on where you're at in that scale. And a big part of what I teach is, well, how do you do that? How do you build a perception of the vibrational scale? How do you develop your mind? How do you develop energy awareness? How do you, connect to, these different levels of consciousness, and even learn directly from the different levels of consciousness within the spiritual hierarchy. And then that's what I teach step by step. So once again, if anybody's interested, you can check out the link in my bio right now. It is like 65%. It's two different options. It's the monthly option and the yearly option. Yearly option, you save a lot of money. That's the part that's 65% off. With it, you get year-long access. After you sign up, you get a link to my book, Alchemy of a Happy Life. You get a link to the app, which has all the videos, video libraries. You can book the weekly group Zoom meetings within the app. Get notifications and stuff on there too. You can message me directly within that. You also get a link to the Discord, which we have a really beautiful community, and we're building the Discord back up. We have to move it to a different server, but really, really beautiful, And if you're interested in signing up, you might have to click the open in a different browser thing outside of this application, because they don't want you to do anything outside of here. They want you to be stuck on here, and they try to block everybody from doing anything outside of that. So just want to put that out there. But you sign up, you'll get an email with all the information you need. So yeah, so rip the old server. It had a lot of gems. It's still in there. I wish I could like migrate it, but I don't have admin access to the old one. But come and think about it, I think I know somebody who still does. So we'll look at that. Looking at some of these comments says, and we can learn these things from within because all the answers are there. But some of us need teachers. Yeah, and what's funny is, so there's levels to it, right? Because most people don't understand the lawfulness of different things. And, there's just as much misinformation out there as there is truth. It's probably more misinformation out there than actual truth, which is scary, especially in today's world. Most of this new age stuff that's out there is not true, like whatsoever. It's all types of conspiracy, weird stuff. And then the system is all types of weird, delusional stuff. And this is why discernment is key. And I wouldn't believe anything outside of firsthand experience, but definitely test and verify stuff on your own accord. Don't take anything on as a truth until you have proven it to be so. So I strongly suggest that for everybody. So looking at this is when the student is ready, the teacher shall come. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's funny because I just started my teacher development class too, because I've had students that's been with me for years, and then they're at the point now where they're like in there. um, so yeah, so like I said, for anybody that's interested, if you want the discount, sign up through the link in my bio, and it's like a PayPal link in there. If you do it on the website, you can see exactly how much it really costs. So I suggest you do it through. I strongly suggest you do it through the PayPal link. Says, what do you know about Gnosticism? The Gnostics are pretty tapped in. They're pretty straightforward with it. Do you interact with low vibrational people or avoid them? I interact with them, but you have to develop equanimity, because in the beginning of your spiritual journey, right? And, because you haven't developed the quietude and the resistance and the ability to like block out certain things and not to judge, a lot of people, that's what they do. They get really judgmental and they'll say, oh, good vibes only. I can't be around, those people because of, whatever. But I mean, I interact with everybody. When you develop equanimity, you can go up and down the vibrational scale. Once again, talking about Buddhism, you know, Buddhism, developing equanimity does not mean that you cannot, have things that are pleasurable, right? Things that you love, but it's your ability to develop a type of quietude where when you engage in it, that astral energy does not get amplified and create more astral stickiness to the light of your mind. It doesn't bind you and create another astral attachment. That's what they mean by that. So when the more you can develop that skill and that level of release and separateness, right? The ability for the observer to observe instead of touching things, then you can engage in whatever you want to because you cut off the karmic stream that attaches that thing into your field of consciousness. It's a literal thing, you know. It's not this altruistic, oh, I just don't have any attachments to anything and I'm just free. That's not what it means. It means that you develop the mental, spiritual strength in which you can engage in something and not allow the astral emotions to come in and stick to it. Do you believe that we are judged by our vibration? Ain't nobody judging you, but you are what you are. If you are at a lower vibration and you're in a hell realm, that's where you're going. If your mind is in that space, whatever you frequently pay attention to, wherever you place your mind, the literal frequency of your mind is what we are here to develop. Now, if your mind is once again attached to a bunch of astral stuff, well, you're going to be reincarnating again, and not by choice. And once again, what we are developing is the ability to release those attachments so your mind becomes free. Now, when you are able to release the attachment and you start to actually cultivate higher frequencies of light, well, you're building light on higher levels. Your guardian angel, your higher self, your God self, is your highest light body. It's the body of light in which you've cultivated the most amount of light force and light outside of the astral. So that part of you literally begins to interact with you. It's part of your field of consciousness. It is the light of your mind. And there's so much energy in it that that's how it gets to you through your intuition. You always have that little part of you that's like, oh, I shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go there. That person's not good. And then you don't listen to it. Oh, something told me I should have. Yes, that is your God self. That is your higher self. That is your highest light body that has the most amount of light and density in it. So what are we developing is that. That's the gold. That's what in this lifetime, if you want to reach really, really high levels of attainment, develop equanimity, right? Develop your ability to release and to demagnetize your astral body and then start developing your mental spiritual strength because that's what you will always keep with you for, forever. That's the goal. And, in my personal experience, like I came in this world magical as hell. like my whole life, always been protected, always seen my protection. Grew up playing with the consciousness of the wind and the air spirits and seeing UFOs and aliens and ghosts and poltergeist and then, all the spirits in the sky and fireballs and airships and all types of stuff. That light is just a part of me, and even when I was little, I've always view life as a game, literally, like, and seeing the literal spiritual guidance that I've always had, where, okay, I see, oh, I'm literally being guided and taught this specific thing. I learn that specific thing, I integrate that specific thing, and I literally raise up, and life literally begins to change form in a literal sense. You start going through different layers of consciousness and different densities of light. And every time you level up, your mind becomes greater, and you can see, new opportunities and new spaces that you can now go into that you weren't able to go into, but you have to be aware of it. It's a literal game. You're gaining experience points, so I suggest that you all, continue to, gain those experience points. Looking at some of these comments. It says, I had to ask that so I understand what you thought of that about the Gnostics or the vibrations. So, says, change is only constant, though. Heaven/hell aren't final destinations. Yeah, not at all. Everybody grows and evolves. You can't help but to grow and evolve. Everybody is ascending. Whether you believe it or not, no matter what, you can't do anything but evolve. And I mean that it's not possible for you to not evolve. Now, you might be evolving at the same rate as your environment and your peers, but you're always evolving. From the photons vibrating in and out of the consciousness to the bacteria on your skin that makes you who and what you are, you will never ever stop evolving. So if you feel like things are going slow, it might be time for you to just, enjoy that slowness, because once it starts evolving faster, you're going to be running nonstop like a chicken with your head cut off. And it says, love you so much. Oh, hey, Dory Lee, love you too. Absolutely believe that because source is strongly in connection with my consciousness. Yeah, I mean that's your intuition, and there's different levels to it. And I know I said we're gonna do this energy exercise, so we gonna get into this as people are coming in here. I'll answer this question before we get into it. Also, if you know anybody that will benefit from this, whether it's a friend, cousin, mama, daughter, baby daddy, cousin, uncle, whoever, feel free, share this, tap the screen, see how many people we can get in here. And we'll go through this energy exercise, and we'll also do our spirit protection. And I'll go through the practice and also the theory of it so you can, make it functional in your everyday life, because that's what it's all about. What's the point of training your psychic abilities and your magical, awareness if you're not using it as practical, functional knowledge in everyday life? Other than that, it's just something to do. So we're going to get kind of deep on that, but I'll answer this question first. It says, what was your most spiritual experience? And I don't know how to answer that. I mean, because I've had some deeply profound experiences. Most of my experiences I don't even share. I often share, like, earlier, I don't know if you were in here, first time I meditated after a couple of I don't even know how to how to describe this without getting banned again. After a couple of attempts on myself, um, and surviving both of them, and you know miraculous ways. I'm pretty sure I didn't survive both of them. I'm pretty sure both times, but that's neither here or there. But soon after, the very first time I started meditating, you know, um, left my body. And, I entered into Wuji, which is a Akashic trance. And, and, my physical body was still messed up. I was still going through depression. I was still going through a lot of stuff. And I just knew that, okay, it was time for me to make a change. So the very first time I meditated, went into that state of stillness. um, collapsed my mind into the Akasha, touched Monad, left my body, was in the cosmos talking to God, and this was after I just separated from my wife and my kids, and I had tons of questions. God showed me, take care of the kids, and screw that, leave her alone. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. I had a bunch of other questions, and came back to my body. When I came back to my body, I had all this energy and light just streaming through my crown. Like it was really intense. Like it felt like lightning bolts just like just streaming through my physical body. And I came back down and I was able to heal my mental body. I could feel all the chaotic energy within my mind. And I was able to bring it into stillness and then calm it down. I was able to go through my physical body and go to each one of my organs and heal each one of my organs one by one. I was able to go to my astral body and bring it into equanimity. And, you know, immediately that night after that experience was over, I could see, spirits again because I grew up seeing them, and kind of like, blocked it out. I could feel my energy and my chi on a much higher level. I could see auras and remembered a lot of who I was and my power, and since then I've been continuously, on the journey to, master that and to teach others how to do it as well so they can also remember and start where they left off. And it's been a nonstop magical journey, and I've had tons of deeply profound experiences. I do workshops and retreats and stuff from all over the place. Like we just did one in Sri Lanka earlier this year. We did one through California. We did a couple of them in Sedona. If you've ever been to Sedona, Sedona is like a intergalactic, train station. Like literally. And every time we're there, there's UFOs and all types of spirits and ghosts and everything. Like the energy is super strong there. You don't even have to be clairvoyant to see it and feel it or anything else. It's pretty intense, But they said my most spiritual experience. My whole life is my spiritual life. Like this right here is what I do for a living. I teach metaphysics and psychic development and ascension. And I've been teaching it, full time for what 6, 7 years, something like that. It's been a while. Um, and it's been a blessing too. And then one of the aspects of life, once again, this is why I teach what I teach, is to know yourself, all right, and to know your inner genius and your God-given abilities, so you can activate those abilities, and then you can build a life around those abilities, because that's what will bring you true fulfillment. This is why so many people go to work at jobs that they hate and they're like, something's missing. I got to do something. I got to change it because you're not living out your inner genius. And most people don't even recognize their inner genius because it's the most natural part of who and what you are. But there's nobody out there that's not a genius at something. I promise you, there's nobody out there that does not have an inner genius. And the more can tap into it and recognize it, then the more you can use it in your favor. And I mean that. There's nobody that's not a genius at something. But it's so natural to you. You think that everybody else can do it, but they can't. There's a couple things about you that everybody around you like, I don't know how you do that. That's amazing. And you're just like, oh, this is what I do. Yeah, that's your inner genius. And because you've been tricked into thinking that you have to work really hard in order for you to be successful and you got to do things this way and that way. And it has to be, whatever else. It literally, the most natural thing about you, that is your inner genius. And the more you learn how to amplify it and master it, the more fulfilling and easier your life will be. Because that is your God-given purpose. That is your path of light, but you have to recognize what it is and know yourself, you know. Um, Says, what is your sign? I am a Capricorn. I'm born on 108, 1986. So 108, for those that know, I am a master number 33, obviously. Um, and I am a overly self-sufficient January Capricorn to a fault. So that's a little bit about myself. Says, I don't know why really, but when I'm in meditation, I feel light come into the crown chakra, then pineal gland, and so on. So I've been told it's rare that in meditation for one to start at the crown instead of the root chakra. Not necessarily. It's not really that rare. Even when it comes to like psychic development, for those of you, any of you that might have studied theosophy and like deeper, like psychic traditions and stuff. Um, there are people who train in psychic development So I graduated in '86. Oh wow. So I was born in '86. All right, so it's people that are naturally, psychic and have abilities and awareness and things like that. But there's also people that um, start practicing and developing it. And things activate based off of your own learning curve, right? Some people work their way up. Some people start from the bottom up, which is the hard way. You start at the root and work yourself up to that's the hard way. Some people naturally are open, with high levels of attainment. This is what we call the diamond bodies. Hey, Ava on on YouTube, how you doing? um, we call these the diamond bodies because these are the things that you cannot destroy. This is the levels of light that no matter what you do in your lifetime, or the next lifetime, or the lifetime after that, it's going to be a part of you no matter what. And because, once again, this is Mystic Talk, all the high level beings in here, you know, you've cultivated so much light in your past lifetimes that boom, you get a kind of like a free ride because it's there and it just opens up. And, like I said, I just so YouTube represent. That's funny. Like I said, for me, I told you about the first time I meditated, so that says a lot. But everybody's is different, and everybody's path is different, and that's okay. That's okay. But I said, so is it a light worker to okay, because I was wanting to understand what causes this. I started at the crown. Um, I don't even know how to answer that. I don't understand the question. Illy says, "Would you ever reveal your last lives?" No. Um, Actually, I'll share a couple of them. I know a lot of them, and most of them are pretty high. I mean, like very well known high level ones. Um, and I don't honestly, I don't think I should even share any of them. To tell you the truth, but yes, I am very very aware of lots of them too. um, but yeah, I do have a YT page too, and I post some of my live streams on there as well. And I'm live on there right now as well too. Um, um, Eventually, I'll say I'm still unaware of mine. Eventually, I'll let it be known. Like some of my closest people know, and just being out in public, like I said, for me, I lived in Sedona for a while. The first time I went to Sedona, talk about spiritual experiences. I promise you, we gonna do this energy exercise. Don't forget, keep tapping the screen. But the first time I went to Sedona was one of the most magical experiences I had ever experienced, and one of the last days that I was there, um, we went to like this art show, and there was this Navajo shaman that was there. He had his whole headdress and everything on, and I walked by him and didn't even say anything to him. Just walked by him. He stopped me dead in my tracks, and he was like, "Hey, hey." He was like, "Did you see that yellow canary that just flew over your head?" And in my mind, I'm just like, bro, I ain't never seen a yellow canary out in the wild a day in my life. He was like, yeah. He was like, he looked at me. He was like, yeah, that's my spirit animal or whatever. And it just flew over your head. The Navajo shaman's spirit animal in Sedona, Arizona, stopped me because his spirit animal swooped up, and, he stopped and he told me about all the light and all the different beings and stuff that he sees that walk with me and guide me and everything else. And he was like, I don't know who you are, but I know you not normal. He gave me a blessing, like I don't mean like a blessing. It felt like a Final Fantasy 10 freaking mega potion. Like it was amazing. Like I had never felt anything like that up to that point in my experience, and and I get that a lot, especially living in Sedona. There's tons of psychics and stuff and people that are very aware, but also from other people, like all over the place, all over the world. I've had people say, "Oh, I see this in you. I see this. Oh, I see your past lifetime. I see this. I see, this form of you. I see you in this realm. I see, like, here in the physical. Oh, I see this. Oh, I see us in these past lives, like all the time." Like literally all the time, and it's really really beautiful. And I'm blessed and grateful to be who I am, and to share what I share, and it's fun. um and so yeah, it says, what's a way you recommend to discover any of our past lives, or who we once were? So there's levels to it. When it comes to tapping into the Akasha and pulling information out of the Akasha, you have to be at certain levels to have access to certain information. Um, and it's Franz Barton describes it as, the lawfulness of divine providence or of God, and the higher you are, the more you can tap into, and it's based off your own spiritual maturity. A lot of people believe that they're, up here when they might be down here, and down there, it's a lot of stuff that's not real or not true, in the higher levels, everything is more towards like oneness and grounded in truth, and there's less polarity, if any at all. But in order to tap into your past lives, like, one, you can welcome some of that stuff into your field of consciousness. Akasagarbha is an easy way to kind of tap into that and put you on your road so you can start to see and understand that. You're in the course, go into the meditation library and do the Akasagarbha meditation, where we activate our Akashic diamonds, and super powerful, because those Akashic diamonds, these are very high levels of attainment that you've developed over many incarnations, and you have access to each one of them. And when they begin to activate, you'll begin to recognize them as tendencies, and different insights and different levels of light will begin to appear within your awareness and in your environment, and it'll all begin to synchronize, and you'll begin to understand, and it's very beautiful. So that's one way you can do it. uh Says, "I swear, besides the teachings, I come to hear your laughter." Oh, everybody says that. Yeah, that's how I felt. The shaman that prayed over me and my husband in Cancun. That's cool. um, but yeah, we're going to do this energy exercise because I don't want to be up super late, and it is almost midnight. Says, "I was just meditating on my Akasha Garba amulet today." See, and you know, right now, it's one of the most amazing times to start stepping into your power, because, like I said, with this super moon, and with Samhain being right here at the super moon as well, you get this type of emptiness within your mental and astral matrix that you usually only really get during the new moon, with the power of the full moon as well. And this doesn't happen often. So, super powerful, for you to be able to take advantage of it. It's perfect time. You can see in your own experience right now, you're going through, transitions, things are shifting. You've been in the opposite polarity of how you've been over the past couple weeks, and it's for a good reason. It has to be that pendulum swing. But, the goal and everything that I teach and I share is that, well, how do you accelerate that? How do you take advantage of the rhythms of nature, and accelerate your growth and ascension, because it's really really powerful. Um, and if you're interested in doing it to a much higher degree, check out the link in my bio. Super duper powerful. Once again, I have a whole course. And it's a year-long subscription. There's also a monthly subscription. It's like 65% off for the year-long subscription right now. There's a PayPal link. You probably have to click the little three dots at the top to do it through your regular external browser, because TikTok is some haters. But you sign up, you get year-long access to, like I said, we got all the video libraries, which is level one is mastering the elements, mastering your relationship to air, fire, water, earth, and Akasha, and and how they manifest through your instinctual nature. And how do you bring them into quietude to develop equanimity or magical equilibrium, as we say in Hermetics? And why do you want to do that, RJ? So you can develop your psychic abilities and higher levels of awareness. The astral body has to be still and quiet for you to be able to develop the clarity, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, all these higher levels of awareness. And you have to bring all the other stuff into equanimity first to have access to that. Well, why do you want to develop your psychic abilities, RJ? I'm glad you asked, because in order for you to understand the higher aspects of creation, your mind has to touch it. The higher aspects of creation and the higher spiritual knowledge is something that cannot be verbalized. You can try to describe it as much as you want, but it's no way that you can intellectualize it. It does not have form. Any word that you put to it will diminish it, and you can only reference words with other words. And in mathematics, right? We come up with the theories and everything else, but even the theories have to have a basis of things because if you start describing stuff, you're just using words to describe words, and if you go all the way back to the beginning of it, where did that word come from? How do you describe something with something else that's made up? Right. And my favorite way to describe it is, once again, what does an orange taste like? What does an orange taste like? You can't give that to somebody. You can't. You can give hours long lectures on the tastes of orange, but you can't give it to somebody. You can read a million books on it, but you can't give it to somebody at all. You taste an orange. It's a product of the spirit. All the higher spiritual practices are exactly that. So everything that I teach is, well, how do you experience the higher levels? And that's why you want to train your psychic abilities. You have to see the formless realms to fully understand it. And this is what puts you at the level of the Kabbalists and the sages, because most people are philosophers and they study and dwell in the realms of just pure intellect without doing any actual practicing. And just because they know something intellectually does not mean they understand it whatsoever. So the philosophers, what they know intellectually, is vastly different than what the sages know through direct experience. Armchair magicians, yeah, exactly. Don't be that. So if you want to go dive deeper, once again, check out the link in my bio. There is a link. It's the Master Key Psychic Ascension program. Right now it's like 65% off for the year-long subscription. There's a PayPal link. You'll have to open it up in the external browser because TikTok is hating. But with it, you'll get an email with the link to my book, Alchemy of a Happy Life. And you'll also get the link to the app so you can download it and have direct access to it. And then you can sign up for the Discord as well. You don't have to sign up for the course to join the Discord. You can check that out. We just moved to a new server, so we're building that back up. But we have a really beautiful community of active practitioners, and you can drop your questions, comments, and everything else in there. And it's beautiful. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to set up payment plans or whatever, that's always an option. But yeah, I'm just here to share what I have to share. And for anybody who's open to learning and developing, I'm here for you, for sure. So other than that, y'all want to do this exercise real quick and then build our spirit protection. Mhm. Are y'all ready for this? Let me know if y'all can still hear me. Boom. I haven't used this microphone with this MacBook yet, but it says, "Let's go, my friend." It says, "Three Eye Atlas." What is it? It's your third eye at last. That's what it is. uh, And I say that jokingly, but also pretty serious about it too. So switch over to help get the likes up. Oh, thank you, thank you. All right, so we'll do this. We'll break down this practice, and I'll talk you guys through it. So, how many of you in the comments? Please let me know how many of you guys have practiced qigong before or tai chi. Please let me know. Drop a one in there. How many of you are able to feel your life force and energy? Like you put your mind on it, it's a density thing. Says have not. Okay, cool. You're in for a treat. You're most definitely in for a treat. So when we're working with life force, um, everything is life force. When we break down the aspects of creation, our vital energy is what animates life. It's the layer of consciousness that animates all life. Wherever there's gravity, there is vital life force and light seeking to come into form. So through this practice, we're going to learn how to tap into that life force and that energy. And there's different levels of it. In this level, we're going to primarily work with the vital layer. For those of you who are students, we'll go a little bit deeper, where we're going to get into the practice of the protective sphere. But this is what we're working with. So our life force and our energy, it conducts through our fascia, right? The goal in qigong and higher, alchemy is to become a better conductor of energy, not to store a bunch of energy, but to be able to conduct energy to a very high level. And our energy conducts through our myofascia tissue, our fascia web, which wraps around our muscle fibers and our tendons, and all the energy and information of our body conducts through that pathway. In the same way that energy conducts through a wire, it's not running through the wire, it's conducting through it. The same thing happens with our fascia and our physical body. So to feel your fascia, what I want you to do is to put your hand up and just slowly stretch every single joint in your hand. Just very, very gently stretch every single joint within your hand. And just continue to stretch it. Don't overly tense up your muscles or anything, but just keep stretching, 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 stretching. You can do both hands if you want to. Just keep stretching, 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 opening up every single joint in your hands. Just continue to open them. As you can see, you can open them a lot further than what you thought you can. So what I want you to do from here is just very, 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 very slowly begin to relax the muscles. I mean, very, very slowly. When you begin to do that, you'll get a sense of a type of elasticity, right? Now that elasticity that you feel, that is your fascia. That's your fascia. Now your fascia is very similar to a guitar string. And when we're working with energy, if you don't stretch it enough, it'll sound like crap, right? Guitar string. If you overstretch it, it'll sound like crap. But if you get it just right, it'll sing you a beautiful song. So that's what we want to do with our fascia. You don't want to tense up the muscles. You want to engage in fascia tension. And we do that through pushing our joints open or pulling our joints open. Now, when you pull your joints open, right? So you pull your joints open like you're pulling on a car or playing tug of war, right? You're playing tug of war. You pull on the rope. Your body goes naturally more magnetic. When you push your joints open, like you're pushing on a car, your body goes naturally more electric. Same thing happens when you inhale, magnetic, exhale, electric, right? So we're going to use that law of polarity to pull the joints open on the in breath. Breathe in, push the joints open on the out breath, breathe out, and we're going to go from magnetic to electric, and we're going to build energy in between our hands, okay? Now, your skin acts as a second set of lungs, right? It's the largest organ that you have. When you breathe in, you're also taking in life force and energy through your pores. Just naturally, this is part of how we operate. So, to amplify this, I want you to pay close attention to your hands and focus your intent. As you breathe in, you're breathing life force into your hands. So you're breathing through the nose, breathing through the skin. Focus your intent that you're breathing energy into the hands. And the out breath, you push your joints open and you put all your willpower, your attention, right, and the breath, the energy into the space in between your hands. So we're going to go from pushing the joints open and projecting the energy, draw the energy into the hands with the in breath, all your attention, willpower, and breath into the space in between your hands, pushing the joints open. You're going to build this energy. We're right near the full moon, so everybody should feel this. Everybody. There should be nobody that can't feel this, okay? So we're going to do this, and we're going to do this between maybe 9 or 10 breaths. Halfway through, we're going to stop and we're going to start to condense the energy with each breath, little by little. So if you're ready, remember when you pull the joints open, you're going from pulling to pushing. You're just going from pulling, switching the joints to pushing, pulling, pushing, just like that, okay? So we're going to start. Ready? All right, so deep breath in, draw the energy in, focus your intent as if you're breathing into your hands. Push your joints open, place your attention, willpower, and breath into the space in between the hands. Draw the energy in, focus your willpower and breath into the space in between your hands. Remember, pulling the joints open on the in breath, pushing the joints open on the out breath, focusing your willpower and your mind into the space in between the hands. Just switching from pulling the joints open, pushing the joints open, and following your breath. We're building this ball of energy. All right, so from here, keep your hands up and just really, really gently stretch your joints and your fingers. You'll get to a point in which you can feel the energy kind of peak where it feels like you can't really stretch anymore. You don't want to overly tense up your muscles, but just stretch the joints and you get like this peak of energy. So from here, we're going to condense this energy little by little between like 4 or 5 breaths. So what I want you to do is focus in the same way we just did. Draw the energy in, focus your intent. You're drawing the energy into your hands on the in breath. Focus your willpower and breath into the space in between the hands. Condense and draw the energy in again. Condense on the out breath. Draw the energy in again. Condense 2 more times. Draw the energy in. Condense. And then last time, we're going to condense it until your hands are about 1 inch apart. And condense. So from here, what I want you to do is to start making very slow, small circles, okay? It's very, very slow, small circles. Keep your fingers right where they're at. Don't change the joints at all. Just keep your fingers just where they're at and just start making really slow, small circles. If you did it correctly, it should feel like you're playing with magnets. You should feel the magnetism, the vital life force, the vital energy. That's the frequency you want to pay attention to the most. You probably feel tingling or all types of different sensations, but you want to pay attention to the magnetism more than anything else. Now, as you feel this magnetism, once again, this is vital energy, vital life force. This is, once again, the layer of energy or consciousness that animates all life through all of creation. And this is what you're developing sensitivity to. The trees have vital energy and life force. You have it running through your body. As you're doing this, what I want you to do is just tune your mind into it. Even identify, I am this magnetism, I am this life force. Focus your mind through the identity of I am. Part of your mind begins to take on the identity of it. You may feel your mental connection to the energy. From here, place your hands up again. And what I want you to do is just slowly start to press your hands towards each other, just a little bit. Just kind of tap them towards each other. And as you do this, continue to identify with the magnetism you feel. And the more you identify with it, you'll get a type of mental pressure in your awareness. Now, through that mental pressure, I want you to increase the mental pressure. Just focus your will through what you feel. Identify, I am this mental pressure, I am this energy, and just begin to increase it. Just focus the will and increase, increase, increase. Just increase it, increase it, increase it. You can press the hands towards each other a little bit more so you can feel it even more, and just begin to increase that mental pressure. Increase it as much as you can, and you'll notice if you're as you're doing this, it's a level of release you have to do to be able to increase it. Don't overly tense up your mind. Mental strength is not mental tension. So you pay attention to it and work on expanding, 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 expanding more and more and more. And then now stop. Now feel the energy again. Right? Start with the slow, small circles again. See how the energy changed state. So it went from a more magnetic state to a more kind of electric type of ward off energy. And in Tai Chi, this is what's called ward off energy. And this is what we're playing with. So, what I want you to do from here with this energy, if you feel your connection to it, same way we did the building the ball, we're going to start doing that again. Okay. So, build the ball some more. If you feel your mind's connection to the energy, what I want you to do is we're going to give this energy a shape. We're going to give it the shape of a perfect sphere. We want this energy to encompass our entire body and spherically around us, about arm's reach. So let's just expand the energy just through your intent. Expand the energy. Continue breathing into the sphere. So now, instead of just putting the energy into the space in between your hands, you're breathing into the sphere of energy around you. When we create with our energy, a perfect sphere, it has edges. It's like a soap bubble that you begin to create. And around the edges, it's a bit thicker and it can block a lot of energy out. So, as you're doing this, what I want you to do is begin to focus on the frequency of protection. That's the information you want to put into this sphere is for protection, to be protected mentally, protected astrally, protected physically, and just continue to breathe into the sphere as you're building this energy up. So, one of the things about this protective sphere that we're building is it's super powerful. When you go into any town, any city, any energetic space, um, there's like collective consciousness there. There's astral pollutants. There's all types of different energies you want to protect yourself from. Anybody that lives outside of a big city, you know, when you're outside of the city limits, you can see the literal karmic bubble that the city is covered in. And when you're in that field of consciousness, all that energy begins to permeate your field of consciousness. All the thoughts, all the wants, all the needs and aspirations and worries and concerns and delusions of the city become a part of your field and all the people within it. And most people have no protection from it whatsoever. So as we're building this, this is one of the reasons why we want to develop our protective spirit, and we want to make sure it's lots of energy in it. And you want to guard against that, and in many different ways. And this is one of the best ways to do it. For those of you who are, what up, Infinique? For those of you who are in the course, right, we're going to go through the elements. So, water element, what is the frequency of water element you want to put in your protective sphere? Right? So water element regulates your synchronicity. It regulates your magnetism. It regulates how much stuff sticks to you, your emotional intelligence, and then your awareness, um, your attachments. Right? So for everybody, what I want you to do is Just feel all the energy, tune in, and through the identity of the energy, we're going to invoke the water element and invite the water element to increase our spiritual awareness, right? So within our field of consciousness, we become more aware, even though we're protected from the things, that's coming in, you want to be aware of it so you know exactly what you're protecting yourself from. And this gives you a deep level of insight as you are engaging different energetic spaces. Also, within our protective spirit, we're going to invite the water element to increase the synchronicity between our three bodies, between our mental body, astral body, our physical body. So, all of our highest goals and intentions that we are synchronized to, and everything is aligned. If you are out of sync, you might have a thought, an idea that you want to accomplish, but astrally, you may believe you can't do it. Physically, you're not taking the steps to do it. When we are working with the water element regulates synchronicity between the three bodies. So, blessing and inviting the water element to bless our protective spirit. With that, you get this huge increase of synchronicity within your field of consciousness. From here, we're going to move on to the fire element. So, the fire element regulates your need to control. There's a level of power within the fire element. There's a level of courage in the qualitative sense of the fire element. There's a level of willpower within the quantitative sense of the fire element. So we're going to invite the fire element to increase our level of courage, to break through our barriers, to break through any hindrances we may have that we haven't been expressing our fire towards, and just invite that into your protective sphere through the frequency of the fire element. Invite the fire element to increase the level of willpower that you have too. And in a balanced sense, when we're working with the fire element isn't always just this yang type of just go 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 type of energy, but balanced fire means that you take action in the right time, in the right space. Fire element is very efficient when it's balanced. It's not always just go 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 go. So we're invoking that out of the fire element too. So all your goals and highest intentions and ideals that you take action upon, no questions asked, in the most efficient manner, and everything gets done properly. From here, we're going to invoke the air element, and we're going to invite the air element into our protective sphere through the air element. The air element regulates your need to understand. It regulates your intelligence, your intuition, your intellect. Through the air element, we're going to invite the air element to increase our intuition, to increase our level of intuition and awareness, to increase the insight that we have. And my favorite invocation for the air element is within our protective sphere, that we are always in resonance with the answers, before any problems ever arise, and they get dealt with ease and grace and in harmonious ways. You don't want to be in resonance with the problems, you want to be in resonance with the answers. We don't even care to see the problems as long as we are subconsciously aligned to deal with them without it ever even being a problem in the most quickest and efficient way, with ease and grace and harmonious ways. Still breathing into the protective spirit. Next, we're going into the earth element. Now, the earth element regulates your need for a cave, for stillness, your foundation, your groundedness, right? Your ability to bring things into form and to manifest. The earth element is your balance of your fire, air, and water. So we're going to invite the earth element to bring all these manifestations into form. So we are equally balanced when needed within our air, fire, and water, that our mind becomes more and more still, more focused, more grounded, even as we ascend and touch higher frequencies of light, that we're able to ground that light efficiently. And that we properly use the other elements as well, to manifest our divine abundance and to build so we can have that nice cave to dwell in as well. From here, tune into the energy. We're going to enter into prayer. Now, through prayer, we're going to invoke what's called your path of light. So, your path of light is your divine path. And to invoke this into your protective sphere, just go deep into your state of prayer. And it's the prayer is, may the path of light guide and protect. Your path is your intuitive guidance system, your path of light. So you can enter into prayer and invite that light into your protective sphere. Start condensing that light into your protective sphere. Path of light, guide, and protect. Now, if you work with any specific deities whatsoever, you can invoke your deity to bless your spirit with whatever energies that you may be working with. This is the perfect time to do that. Mm. If you have any Akashic skill, you can place your hands on the outside surfaces of your protective sphere. You should be able to reach out and feel the edges, right? So on the edges, we're going to place on the edges Akasha. For those of you that's been doing the Akasha work in the courses, we're going to cover the edges with Akasha, where the Akasha acts as a protective mirror. So for anybody that's sending you, blessings and love, it'll be reflected to them through the Akasha. Whereas if anybody's sending you negativity and hate, that will also be reflected back to them through the Akasha. So super duper powerful. Take a second and do that. All right. So from here, what I want you to do is one, show gratitude. And gratitude to the elements, to whatever deities, to light, to God, infinite intelligence. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to hand this protective sphere off to your protective chi. So we have a layer within our astral body that protects us. It keeps all the good things in and all the bad things out. And this is what we want to hand it off to, and it does it automatically. It's also your immune system and how your immune system functions. It's through that layer of consciousness. So we're handing this protective spirit off to it to manage it. Now you can put different inputs. So whenever you go practice your qigong, or you're out in nature, that you're automatically replenishing and amplifying your protective spirit. You could put inputs into it so that it stays active until the next time that you reprogram it. And I suggest that you revisit that pretty often, because especially if you're a practitioner, you're going through the course, your level of awareness, your skill, your control of energy, and the amount of conductivity you have begins to change and shift. So each time you do it, it'll become more and more and more and more powerful. Um, so I suggest that you do that as well. But take a second, just hand it off to your protective chi. Mhm. And there you go. So how's everybody doing? How's that? How'd you guys do with that practice? Let me know in the comments if you guys would like to go, much, much deeper into, psychic development, into hermetics and alchemy, and, ascension. We go super deep. Like this is like a beginner practice, and even like going into the qigong practices and developing awareness of the three bodies, and going into Kabbalah and magical invocation and everything else. It gets super deep. So if you would like to go deeper and explore and train your intuition so you become your own teacher, check out the link in my bio. um, Once again, right now, if you sign up for the course, it's a year-long subscription. It's like 65% off right now. So perfect time to join in. We have a app with bunch of different video libraries in there. There's hundreds of videos. I do weekly group Zoom meetings, which you have access to. You can start practicing immediately, and it's life changing. You also get a copy of my book, Alchemy of a Happy Life. What up, Clint Andrews on YouTube? How you doing? And it's really, really powerful. But once again, this is like one of the beginner exercises, and it's lots of information. Once you embark on this path, like you start activating all your inner light and then your intuition, and things become more fulfilling. You literally begin to raise through the different layers of consciousness, and life becomes different. Like literally, it begins to look different, feel different. Your amount of power grows. You gain immunity to all these different influences that affect the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel. Like it's beautiful. and it's powerful because we have a community too. So you're not alone on your path. I know a lot of people tend to go into hermit mode because they feel like they can't relate to anybody. They don't have a group to practice with or anything. But that's why we have this space. And right now, once again, it's on sale. You can check out the link in my bio. It's the Master Key Psychic Ascension program. It's a PayPal link. If you click on it on TikTok, you're going to have to click open an external browser because TikTok is, they don't want anybody off of their app apparently. But if you click on that, then you'll be able to do it. You'll get an email with all the information. You get an email with the link to the app, to the book, to the Discord, all the instructions on how to practice and everything. You have instant access to it, and you can join the group Zoom meeting starting this Saturday at 9 a.m. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going super deep into some of the Tai Chi teachings as well. I haven't really shared a lot of that, but I'm going to start going super deep into that. And let me know if you guys have any questions. Looking at some of these comments here. Says I was good, thought I lost it, but I yawned and there it was. That's cool. Thank you. Wow, that was intense. And I closed with my spirit into thanking my higher self. That's beautiful. Closed by covering my heart and saying thank you. That's also beautiful. Wow, you're amazing, dear. Oh, thank you. Do I join to see course or um, I don't know what you mean by that. Do I join to see the course? Um, yeah. So you can go to the website. I don't want to say the website because I think they're going to like drop down how many people can see me if I say it. But if you check the link in my bio says join. Yeah. If you clicked on the link that says Master Key Psychic Ascension Program, there's two options. It's a yearly one and a monthly one. The monthly rate is like the regular cost. The yearly one is like 60% off of everything. If you go to the website, it's a completely different price. So that link is the best way to do it. But you'll probably have to click open an external browser to do it because TikTok doesn't want people to go off of their site. So yeah, but you'll get an email with all the instructions and everything, and you can message me in the app if you have any questions. You can book a one-on-one if you have any questions. If you would like to do a quantum healing session or anything like that. That's what it says. Can't find it, but I'll try. It's its own. It should be at the very top. Like if you actually, I don't even know if it's active. Let me double check real quick. Maybe I should make sure. Yeah, it's on there where it says continue for a Master Key Psychic Ascension program, and you can choose between yearly option, monthly option. There's a PayPal link, Venmo link. There's a Pay Later. There's a debit card link. I'm on my MacBook, so it says Apple Pay, and I believe if you're on the phone, you'll probably have to click for it to at the top right hand corner for you to open in an external browser. If you're on a laptop or on like a browser or anything like that, it should work automatically. But if you're on TikTok, you'll most definitely have to click the little menu button on the top right hand side and go to external and then sign up through there. And if anybody has any other questions, if you can't do it or anything, you can just message me on here. I think there's a link in the bottom left hand corner of this for the Service Plus, and you can message me through there and I can shoot you the instructions if you're interested. Um, Other than that, I think that's all I got for you guys. Unless you guys want me, give you a blessing as well. I haven't really been doing this a lot lately, but I think I will. So before I go, um, I'm going to do this blessing, and this blessing is going to be for um, universal love. And self love, because this is a very important frequency to cultivate, and your self image. it matters, and your external image is a reflection of you as well. So it also matters. It controls your karma, how you relate to different people, places, things, how those things relate to you, and the outcomes that come from that relation. So this is what this is going to be for. If you're open to receiving this, all you have to do is just sit in a state of openness. You can think about a time where you were really, really happy. First thing that comes to your mind. You can close your eyes, feel how your heart center starts to open up a little bit. Hold that state of openness, and I will do this. All right, how's everybody doing? How was that? Everybody okay? You feel it? How you doing? I said emotional. Yeah, yeah. It's a super powerful frequency. Brings a lot of quietude and into your spirit too, as well as like a deep sense of just love and connection. And wait till you go to sleep. You're gonna wake up. It'll be a whole new day. It's going to be absolutely amazing, So, once again and always, thank you all for joining me. I hope you all have a very, very, very blessed and beautiful rest of your night. Once again, check out the link in my bio. You can check out the information for the course. You can message me directly. You can hit the Service Plus thing in the corner if you want to message me. I look forward to seeing some of you in the Zoom meetings. Uh, Other than that, I hope you all have a very, very, very blessed and beautiful rest of your morning. And I'll see you guys later, okay? All right, peace.